doing this exercise by yourself is very, very important, because I feel that because I've made these notes, I've not referred to someone else's notes, I had a good grasp of all these things, right? I knew the different dimensions. I didn't have to go through it multiple times. I just had to go through it few times. So this effort you need to take, because it is UPSC. It's civil service examination. You're going to become an officer. So you can't just take it lightly, just go and refer to someone else. You need to do smart work.
I started my full-fledged preparation after I joined the Ultimate Assessment Program at Civilsdaily.
There is a 12-month strategy which I have done on Civilsdaily platform only.
I reached out to the Civilsdaily team.
Civilsdaily.
Current affairs में Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily. With Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily. Yes. Civilsdaily. To Civilsdaily.
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 A mentorship program of Civilsdaily, and that did help me a lot.
So this was prelims, folks. Let's just move on for mains paper-wise, and we'll next 7 to 10 minutes we'll like to cover it. The idea is going to be like the whole idea is same. First, you figure out what are the most recurring micro themes, then you end up making notes for them. Because and the way to do that is like when you are making notes, you are writing maximum number of dimensions. Exam के पहले जो 3 महीने का gap होता है between prelims and mains, these are your like. You should be trusting these things like at any time. These notes, one-pager notes. So it's better that we show our own notes. This is for society. There are a lot of notes we have to cut down just to give you. Please try to understand the principle behind how this has happened.
It is actually, I think Thani or someone was asking that, can you provide your notes? See, it is easy to go and refer to someone else's notes. But doing this exercise by yourself is very, very important, because I feel that because I've made these notes, I've not referred to someone else's notes, I had a good grasp of all these things, right? I knew the different dimensions. I didn't have to go through it multiple times. I just had to go through it few times. So this effort you need to take, because it is UPSC. It's civil service examination. You're going to become an officer. So you can't just take it lightly, just go and refer to someone else. You need to do smart work. I understand that if you have a time crunch, I understand you'll have to refer a few notes of other toppers or something. But more or less, you have to do this exercise by yourself, right? And that is why I'm showing you these notes just as a reference point, how to prepare your own notes. Okay, so this is a micro theme, poverty, which comes under Indian society. Here again, mains is all about answer writing, and I need to prepare my one pager as per my answers, right? So answer has 3 parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. So in my notes, I need to have a ready-made introduction, I need to have a ready-made conclusion, and different dimensions under the body after doing PYQs analysis, right? So here in poverty, I have a basic definition. Like if I don't have anything to write in introduction, I can at least write down this. Right? Because in those 7 minutes, I can't just generate out of nowhere. I need to have it in my notes. I have a basic definition of poverty, then a data related to poverty, a quote related to poverty. So it's like I can use any of these. Right? I can start with data. I can either start with definition or with a quote. Then identifying different dimensions under the body. Again, go through the PYQs, see what UPSC has asked. UPSC might have asked different forms of poverty. Right? Generally, as a layman, we just think about the economic poverty, income poverty. But it's beyond that. There is skill poverty, there is health poverty, there is gender poverty, there is menstrual poverty as well, period poverty, right? So you have multiple forms of poverty. This is one dimension. Second dimension is reasons behind poverty. Why poverty still exists in India, despite taking so many steps to elevate it. So the reasons are subcategorized into historical, social structure, economic structures, political and environmental reasons. Once you're done with this, then types of poverty, absolute and relative poverty. Then I have government measures as another important dimension. Okay, so government measures I have, then different committees that have been set up, capabilities approach of Amartya Sen for a value addition. Then an important other dimension is linkage between population and poverty, which UPSC has asked multiple times. So population as a cause of poverty and population is an effect or a consequence of poverty. I've understood this. Again, this notes was a little old. It was, at that time, COVID-19 was important. So I have written COVID-19 impact on poverty as well. Challenges for its eradication and a small conclusion, which I had actually quoted Honorable Prime Minister. he had written this, he has spoken about poverty. The 21st century is an era of knowledge. If poverty is to be abolished in this century, it can be abolished only through knowledge. So I found it interesting. I could actually use it as my conclusion. So this is how I prepared. Introduction, conclusion, body with different dimensions.
Yeah. Can I ask, were your sources, so ये जो आप लिख रहे हो, these are coming from standard books, like standard resources?
Not
Or Google
standard resources.
notes,
Google,
where is this?
internet. You just have to type poverty, UPSC, and you will have a list of links where you'll have these information written.
But whenever you read something from a standard app, were you including them also, as a dimension?
Yeah. That's why I said these are prepared on loose sheets, right? So if I have to do some value addition, if I have to do something, it is very easy for me. Once I do it in a book, I'm restricted. I cannot add information.
Yep. Is this so let's say this is a society ka poverty thing. ये आपका पहला note से this has come after a few iterations. Is this the first?
Few iterations,
So
definitely.
इसके पहले what was happening before this? Was it very bulky or something? So if there is a beginner, should they do this thing only from day one, one pager? या फिर वो iterate होएगा, evolution होगा after a while?
I think it will evolve in basically
है.
It took me a while to understand it, but if you actually understand the principle behind it, you can do it from day one as well. Once you're done with your basic reading, you can start doing your one pager. You don't have to waste your time making bulky notes.
Great. So if the thing got evolved, you must have to lose some information, na? Cut down करना पड़ेगा.
Correct.
How were you deciding कि ये नहीं लिखना है one pager में?
The thing is, again, if you can look at what I have written here, I have written keywords. I have not written sentences, right? And this keyword I can these are self-explanatory keywords, like population explosion. I don't have to explain it.
They're retrieval cues. Once you read the keyword, आपको पूरा याद आ जा रहा है कि
याद आ जाएगा. And I don't even have to write sentences. I can actually use these keywords in my actual answer during my mains.
So folks, because whatever I just asked her, please understand, if you will copy her notes and if you'll read, you see the amount of context you're losing. It's her own personal memory. She has made some decision कि ये नहीं लिखना है, because she feels उसको वो याद आ जाएगा and she will remember all this. What if it's not the case with you? If you'll just copy her notes, your one pager has to be completely different depending how much can you recall, how much you want to cut down. If you will end up just studying from her notes, please understand, it will not move you forward. Yes, you should understand the principle, you should, but इसलिए बोला जाता है topper के notes कभी
blindly follow.
Never, because you're losing so much of context why they chose to write this, because it only works for them. So do not I don't know how else to persuade you, but 100% सिर्फ खुद के notes नहीं बनाना है, सिर्फ topper से पढ़ना है, बहुत बड़ी problem. I think this green thing is this like a quote that you're
quote, yes, by Prime Minister Modi.
So if this thing comes, you will fit in the quote. You have a ready-made custom quote ready.
Yes. Yes.
Great. Awesome. So this is how this is geography. I think more diagrams here.
Yeah, geography must include diagrams. You cannot, get away with diagrams here.
Yeah.
Again, ocean currents, you can see a simple definition of what is ocean currents. Again, for these kind of topics, you cannot, generate some innovative introductions, right? You can only write definitions. So I've done that. I've written 2 types of ocean currents, then a basic world map diagram showing, the different ocean currents, factors, important dimension, impact, again, geographic impact, economic impact, impact on marine life. I've identified that. So again, this is ocean currents. You can see cyclones on the right-hand side, a basic definition of it. Important one is tropical, 2 different types of cyclones, tropical and temperate cyclones. Then again, characteristics of that, factors for the formation of tropical cyclones. Then why largely confined to South China Sea or Bay of Bengal? This is a question, PYQ, that has been asked. So I've written the reasons for that. Why more cyclones are in the Bay of Bengal in comparison to Arabian Sea? A recent phenomenon is increasing frequency of cyclones in the Arabian Sea. Why is that happening? So all these things, dimensions I've analyzed after my PYQ analysis.
Yeah, anything cyclone comes, you have decent enough content. Yeah.
Yes.
On top of this, were you enriching with current affairs? अगर कुछ आ रहा है तो फिर वो
Yes. कुछ cyclone आ गया 2023 में या 2022 में, मैंने include कर लिया. Right? The Arabian Sea thing is a current affair, right? Why there is an increasing frequency. So I need to have examples to show that there is an increasing frequency.
Yeah, I think you've written like 2022.
Yes,
Yeah.
I found it.
Cool. This is ancient history.
Indus Valley Civilization, very important micro theme. A basic introduction, ready-made. Again, analyzed an important dimension where UPSC actually links the Indus Valley Civilization urbanization to the recent urbanization. Okay, so I need to draw that linkage. So that's what I did. Urban planning in IVC and present times. What are the similarities? What can we draw inspiration from? What was the IVC culture? Then a small diagram showing the Indus Valley Civilization, and then something which I can quote it to. Like, for example, smart city mission. Is there something like it's basically a value addition kind of a thing, and then a small conclusion kind of like IVC people were the best engineers of their times. You can actually take inspiration, but you cannot completely replicate IVC urban planning because the kind of threats in the current urbanization is much more than what was existing back then, right? So something like that. So that was about IVC. Then yes,
let me just ask these aspirants, folks, how have you studied ancient history? थोड़ा भी हड़प्पा and IVC कुछ भी पढ़ा है अभी? Yes or no? No. ठीक है. Those who have, looking at this notes, right? See, prelims का तो game आप समझ गए. Mains में ना मुझे यही समझ में आ रहा है because so let's say me, like I am attempting or Srilakshmi is attempting. If she writes 6 or 7, let's say 8 dimensions, different kind of perspective or dimensions in an answer, and I only write 5 or 6, 2 dimensions less than her, she will take an edge of 1.5 or 2 marks. Multiply with 20 question, multiply with 4 GS paper, 80 to 100 marks का edge वो ले जा चुकी है, which is like make or break in UPSC. एक नंबर से ऊपर नीचे होता है 80 marks is like, ठीक है, वो तो अलग ही गेम है. तो that's what I'm trying to say कि आप जब मेंस के नोट्स बना रहे हो ना, प्लीज थिंक इन टर्म्स ऑफ हाउ मेनी exhaustively you have to cover dimensions, like how many dimensions am I covering from different point of view. So that is what you want to understand from her notes here. ठीक है कि look at the kind of, so जैसे I think मेरे को ये like this I like it, smart city mission. Basically you are saying कि IBC से inspiration ली जा सकती है for modern cities. This is something I don't know how many people will be like writing if something like this comes, right? Ki you can just pick up. What if they draw a contrast between a smart city and ancient cities, right? And you have a perfect answer ready for this. Great. Okay, let's
on the right
forward.
hand side, you can see rocket architecture. Again, a very important micro theme.
One second. Yep.
Yeah. Again, here you can see introduction, a map showing different rocket architectures, then an evolution of it from Mauryan period onwards till Rashtrakuta period, then different kinds of structures using rocket, then what a very, like, if you would have just gone through the PYQs of these micro themes, you will understand that the kind of question UPSC is asking is, how is it an important source of knowledge of the ancient society, right? So that's what I did exactly here. So important source of knowledge of the ancient society. What are the kind of dimensions that I can cover? Culture, social, religious, political, economical, right? And what are these architectures giving me information about? Right.
Yeah.
Like I, looking at the paintings, I can say that there was a very high artistic expression of the people living in those times. In social, I can see that there was a socio-economic setup. For example, in Bhimbetka caves, there was a painting on social life. There was a mode of communication, right? In religious, I can see that, there was Chaityas, there were Viharas. That means Buddhism was prevalent during those times. These are the information. So it's not out of nowhere, like I just came out of, the important source of knowledge. No, I did go refer to the PYQ. So I identified this is an important dimension I have to have in my notes.
Yeah. And then you have clubbed between culture, social, and uske andar ek example you have given.
Correct.
Perfect. Awesome. So this is the principle, like folks, this is the thing that you should be taking away rather than exact notes. Modern history, yes, I'm assuming same philosophy.
Yes,
What she is
same
doing,
philosophy.
covering maximum number of dimensions. in the end, if there is some example in current affairs, etc., she's trying to enrich. She is having. अगर आप ये भी देखो, this is one because आपका जो notes है, why are they looking like a mains answer itself? Like, why is there an intro, then way forward? Was this a conscious choice? You want to make your
Yes, it
notes
was.
in the form
Because
of.
I knew that in those 7 minutes, I cannot like generate out of nowhere. So once I
Yeah.
have this in this format, like if I have an introduction ready, I don't have to waste time thinking about introduction, right? I can spend more time in my body, enriching my body. So that's
Yeah.
what I did here. And this is the ideal way of doing. Like I've actually spoke to many toppers and they actually followed the same strategy
Exactly
of
the
having
same.
notes in this
Yeah.
manner.
You check Animesh ka copy, you check other rankers from CD also. Exactly the same. They have their notes like a mains answer, 100%.
Right.
Um, I don't know how it helps. Like it just like because at the end you should be able to recall very fast in 6-7 minutes.
Right.
Great. This is post independence. This is data. What are the like factual data points you want to include to enrich your
This was
answers?
like a last minute revision thing. Like once
Okay.
I've done everything, like if I have to go through because it's all about value addition, right? Once you have the basic content ready, what matters is your value addition. So for value addition, data, important best practices, some case studies. These are things that needs to be added. And GS1 people generally miss out on. People generally think that GS3 it needs to be filled with data. It's actually, you can add these things. For example, like the unemployment thing or a global inequality index, MPI, you can see ILO, World Bank report, World Economic
These
Forum
things, I
report,
think these things
corruption
add a
perception.
lot of weight to your intro, even in way forward.
Yes.
They give a lot of like weight to examiner also. Ki, matlab the aspirant understand. They are very updated with the data
It's like
points,
when I'm
etc.
claiming something like intercaste marriages are still less in India. I need to have a data supporting it needs to add credibility to my argument, right? So
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
why that's why I did here in NFH's fourth report. Intercaste marriages are just 5.8%. We have a feeling that it's increasing. Definitely, it's increasing, but it's just 5.8%, right? So I'm actually adding credibility to my arguments, and that's
Yeah.
why that's why I've made a list of data.
Yeah. It makes your argument like very real because there is
Yes.
a data point. Great. So these are like certain set of data point relevant to GS3 and 2. This is GS2 notes. Let me just uh, walk through. I'm assuming the philosophy, the principles are
It's the
same.
same. It's the
Just
same.
take like one example if you want to take. Maybe
Just
this one.
I'll just go through the first one. I
Yeah.
have a list of keywords. Now again, when I speak about subjects like polity, I need to have certain technical keywords that I need to use. Okay, I'm not talking about the PSIR level of keywords, but
Yeah.
at least the basic minimum. So, like for example, I can use the word constitutionalism, federalism, temple of democracy, democratic mandate. These are keywords that needs to come in my answer to make it look, to have quality in my answer, right? So I just had a list of these keywords, and then also like for example, you can see certain principles also written here, or some scholars, scholarly keywords or something like identity card of constitution. Which here you can see preamble was called as identity card of constitution. Then I have a list of articles also, which can be used across the answers. For example, like if I'm talking anything related to finance between center state or state federal issue or something, I can actually add finance commission. And whenever I'm writing finance commission in the bracket, I must add the article number as well. It's basically showing off that you know the article number.
Yeah, 100%. It's just
And you need to
that
show
thing.
off
Yep.
because examiner doesn't know how much knowledge do you have, right? It has to come out in your answers. That's why you need to have the list of such article numbers which you can use across your answers.
Yeah, if I ask anyone here, everyone will have a bias. Who will you give one or half extra marks? The one who writes the article or who doesn't? It's a personal bias. Like इसको ज़्यादा पता होगा because they are like article बहुत ही updated है, sincere है, पढ़ के आए हुए. So I think these things were helping you recall very fast. कि एक जगह लिख लो with the
Right.
with things.
Last minute revision के लिए बहुत easy है. And people generally talk about writing articles in introduction, but I must say that if you can write articles across, like even in your body, like if you have mentioned the term governor, you need to write the term, in the bracket. If you can write the article, it is the best thing you can do. So just try to, by heart, try to retain all these articles in your brain somehow.
And these are like most important, most repeated जो आते ही है हर चीज में. So Article 153 गवर्नमेंट का क्वेश्चन आना ही आना, गवर्नर का आ रहा है, कहीं भी आ रहा है. Like a lot of issues going on around that. So,
and it's not just governor ka question, right? Like just if it is a federal issue happening, and if I have to mention one of the issue as governor and CM ka, I can add it, right? So it's not necessarily governor ka question aana hi chahiye. For example, here GST Council, any question related to federalism, federal issues, in my way forward, I can actually give a suggestion saying that, GST Council is a good example, and I can write a article number of it, right?
Yep. Great. Yeah, it could just be one point of the whole answer also.
Right.
Yep. So these are like, again, just walking through all of you. Similar philosophy.
The federal features and unitary.
Yeah,
right.
Similar principle, nothing different. Make sure all these like most important, I think, court cases, case of Nanda.
Yes. Basic structure doctrine.
Yeah, basic structure ka hai. Sab kuch like in your hand, like whenever I need to go through, whenever I forget, and I'm struggling to write answers, better answers. ये सब कुछ handy available है. ये difference है जो एक बिगिनर मिस करता है. ये पूरे वेबिनार का पॉइंट वही है. यहाँ पे ये बताने का पॉइंट नहीं है कि मई तक ये कर लो, अप्रैल तक वो कर लोगे यार. वी आर ऑल मैच्योर, आप सब कर लोगे. देयर इज नो डाउट ऑन योर एफर्ट. बट आई एम, like I said, before this webinar, I was on call with few aspirants, right? And they basically said, what have I not done? Right? And then there are aspirants जो कुछ नहीं कर रहे, they have qualified, they have name in the list. It will feel like unfair. It just unfair, right? But at the end of the day, please develop your advantages, and that is the whole point of this webinar. After this, you should not be feeling कि एक veteran को ज़्यादा पता है. This is the way they are writing, thinking. And I'm not telling, she's not just telling, she's actually showing you. That makes all the difference कि ऐसे ही पढ़ना है. आप कुछ माइक्रो थीम्स आइडेंटिफाई करो, उसके वन पेजर नोट्स बनाओ, हैंडी, कवर ऑल द एग्जॉस्टिव डायमेंशंस. Look at all these cases written here. Even the conclusion is custom made. Nothing is left to chance. Like अगर इस पे कुछ क्वेश्चन आता है तो कंक्लूजन भी मेरा रेडी है. ये बे फॉरवर्ड है, मुझे 7-6 मिनट ही मिलने हैं, वहां पे इतना सोचने का टाइम है नहीं. I'll struggle. I should have everything ready. Of course, you'll not hit 100% right this, but you understand, right? I have to write around this. You get that thing after multiple revision. Most important, RP Act, you have written properly. Cool. I think this is GS3. Just take one example, whatever you want to take.
Government budgeting, micro theme, important micro theme. Again, a list of few static information which needs to be mentioned. Then issues. Again, here government budgeting, we generally study prelims in a very factual manner, but when it comes to mains, it's always about analysis, right? So second ARC issues that have been mentioned in government budgeting, I've mentioned all of them. Reforms introduced, what are the types of government budgeting, all of them. And then a basic thing about like different types of budget. Chances that, UPSC has been asking a lot of static question from economy. So this is something which you need to have an idea about. So all this I've written. Next.
Yeah. Hey, so few aspirants are confused about, so the dimensions that we say, ki we have to cover exhaustively all the dimensions. How were you making decision ki these are enough dimensions? Like what was making you confident कि मैंने ठीक ठाक dimension cover कर लिए हैं?
Okay.
Was it coming from PYQ या फिर model answer से? ये enrichment was it coming from standard sources की maximum, or Google is one more thing, right? Because वहाँ से तो extra dimensions मिलना ही है. Something new you'll always find. So was it? What was the source for?
I would not claim that इतना ही dimensions है. ठीक है, इससे भी और हो सकता है. I'm a human being, okay?
Yes.
So I'm like, I was an aspirant when I was preparing all of this. So जितना हो सकता है उतना मैंने cover किया है. कहाँ से cover किया है? पहला है PYQs. PYQs में I identified कि what is UPSC exactly asking in that particular micro theme. This is something which I did. Again, I said that, I refer to Google a lot, like internet. I type that thing and then UPSC, and I refer to multiple resources. So in that itself, I've found out dimensions. The next thing is when I joined some answer writing, tests and all. So from there also I have gotten, few dimensions which I can actually include in my micro thing. So that's how I came up with these dimensions.
And at the end of the day, anything comes in current affairs, you're Googling and वहाँ से एक ना एक कुछ तो मिलने
Yes.
extra point.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the aspirants, I think 61st rank this year. I was taking a session with her and she was like, मैं राजस्थान का हिंदी न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ती थी because वहाँ पे कुछ ना कुछ एक्स्ट्रा लोकल में कुछ डायमेंशन में थिंक अबाउट इट शी वाज लाइक मुझे वहाँ पे जो एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट मिल रहे थे वो किसी न्यूज़पेपर ने कहीं कवर नहीं किया था बिकॉज दे हैड दिस लोकल ग्राउंड रियलिटी इनसाइट्स व्हाटएवर एंड शी यूज्ड टू राइट हिंदी न्यूज़पेपर का ट्रांसलेट इनटू इंग्लिश एंड देन she got great marks in English. Think about it, like weirdest of the strategy, read Hindi newspaper, local Jansatta some newspaper she was reading. So, I mean, you're right. They can come from any place as long as you are capturing it in one place. And see, that is the edge these people are getting because वो तुमसे एक दो ज़्यादा advantage ले लेते हैं, like they'll write 2 more extra points. Not random points, they will still be meaningful, but there are 2 more extra points. And why will you not get 1 marks extra, half marks extra, multiply by 20, multiply by 4 GS paper? That's the difference. These are GS4 notes. What are these
are
like
a
one
list of
pointers?
ethical keywords. No, ethical keywords. Like, see, the thing is, I have to make my ethics answer look like an ethics answer, right? I can write in a layman language as well, but I need to have these keywords, like, for example, golden mean or reflective thinking, eudaimonia or homo mensura. So I need to have these list of keywords, positive keywords and negative keywords. So I have both of them listed down. So I'll make sure that I have these in my answers as well.
Yeah.
Again, last minute revision. Best thing. Next. List of ethical dilemmas useful for both theory section of ethics paper and case studies. Because case studies directly they ask, what is the ethical dilemma in this particular case study? You need to have a list of that as well. So this is sustainability versus righteousness, means versus end, organizational loyalty versus rule of law. So a list of like around 2022 or something, and a list of quotes as well. Like, so
you can see
generally we have this. Yeah. So generally we have this issue of how to start your ethics answer with, like, but if you see a keyword, like keyword from your syllabus, if you have a quote related to that keyword, you can actually start your answer with that. And a list of conclusions. Again, this is another major issue. Here I have list of conclusion for both theory and case studies. The means do not justify the end. End does not justify the means. 2 wrongs do not make a right.
This is just a list of conclusions.
Conclusions.
This is just so like you are trying to kill all the unpredictability in the exam. Keep a conclusion also I'll prepare custom conclusions. You have points of conclusion. This is if this comes, I'll write this. Great. So you're like basically you're ready for the GS4.
One of the conclusion I can see here that the oath taken by me at the police academy reminds me to serve the nation, people, and lastly myself. So this is basically for the case study thing. Like if you are a SP or a police officer, and then you come up, you are, stuck in a dilemma, ethical dilemma. What are you going to do? So this is basically for like conclusion for such kind of case studies I have made.
Yeah. So you're not relying ki I should make up right in the moment. You already have something. Because you can't depend.
At least I have something. If I want to make up, I can make up. At least I have something. I should not go blank because ethics. Generally, there are 50 pages to write in the other GS papers, and in ethics, it's 60. So the time is like only 3 minutes per page you're getting. You don't have time to think at all. Once you stop your pen, you're gone. You're out of the race.
Yep. Great. I think. Are these name of?
Yeah. So this is like list of examples of civil servants. Let's say exemplary example.
Again, I think these are like used for case studies and references.
Yeah. If not case study for theories as well. For example, like something comes around compassion as a value, then I can add this.
Are you quoting? You'll be quoting these names in your cases like there?
Yeah. Okay. I'll be doing that as example.
Awesome.
Objectivity. So it's like mention the value and the example related to it. So I would always say that you need to have a list of examples of civil servants or general personalities and a personal example as well, like from your own life. If you can add that personal touch to your answer, that will be great.
Yeah.
again, list of Western philosophies, Indian philosophies. You must have that to
Yeah.
basically, put out your arguments in favor of, like if there is a question, especially based on quotes type question, you don't know how to go about it. You can actually quote these kind of philosophies and justify that question. This is what you can do.
Great.
Or if you have to add perspectives, this is a great way to do that.
Yeah. Great, folks. I think we have covered prelims micro themes, mains micro themes. I mean, this will become a very long session. And if you have not, she has taken each GS paper ka session already. We have uploaded them on YouTube. 2 we have uploaded. Other 2 we'll be uploading in coming days. She has spent enough time talking about each GS paper. ठीक है? ऐसे ही prelims का she has taken the complete session on micro themes. Beyond that, tonight I'll be sharing the whole PDF of micro themes. बहुत सारे लोगों को पूरा टाइम तुम लोगों ने बस PDF दे दो मैं निकाल दिया है. You should have listened to us or her at least. ठीक है? कि क्या बोल क्या रहे हैं? You're like PDF दे दो सर बस. So the whole point is that you understand कि भैया what is the difference between someone who's attempting for the third time and you don't want to be in a situation of attempting third time. That is the पूरी fight हम यही पा रहे हैं. But fine, you just want the PDF.